So, welcome everybody to July's coaching clinic. Yeah, I can't believe it's already July. And today we're talking about and exploring never too late to follow your dream. So, just 1 second, friends. I love when somebody comes to my door when I'm just about to start. Okay, so never too late to follow your dream. So I really wanted to touch on this subject today and see where it goes for us all, because I think we're all interested in fulfilling our potential. And I don't think it matters what stage of life we're at for that. It matters that we hear the guidance and follow it rather than take to our beds at night regretting or worrying about, what we haven't yet achieved. So I really want to come at this from an angle that I hope is going to support you with your dream. And listen, your dream is going to be in all different forms. You might just have a dream right now that's in your heart for this week or this day. And some of you might have a dream that's for a future vision or something you've always hoped you might bring into the world or see happen in your world. Depending on where you're at, you get to decide. But if you don't necessarily know what your dream is or have a clarity about what you're wanting to bring into the world or experience in your world, then I'm just going to invite you to really think about what's in your heart for now. What's been calling you for now? Because I think sometimes this subject can get overwhelming for people and sometimes comparative, like, oh, her dream sounds more like, oh, maybe that's what I should be doing. Your dreams are going to be based on your highest values and your deepest vision. Okay, your life's purpose, your reason for being here. It's unique to you. And so it'll take many forms. For some of you, if you've got a high value on lifestyle, let's say, a dream of yours might be to travel, to see different parts of the world. For others of you, if you have a high value on purpose and mission and contribution in the world, service, your dream's probably going to be related to that sector, bringing something forward, some form of work in the world. But the key here is we don't want to get into comparison with each other's dreams, because it really is a vision that's unique to you, based on your values and based on what Spirit has placed in your heart. So let's firstly open up with connecting to that part of ourselves, getting beyond the intellectual mind that wants to tell you what your dream should be, to actually touching the space of Spirit's guidance. You might hear something today, or you might go to bed tonight asking that question and waking up with an answer, or actually having a physical dream. I was watching an incredible movie yesterday. Big George Foreman, he was a world champion boxer. And it's on Netflix. I really encourage you to watch it. But his story was incredible and miraculous. But as a retired boxer, his wife had a dream that he won the championship again. And they were struggling financially. So he had to go back into boxing, which he did. And he got so far, but he lost the championship. But he made enough money to last him the rest of his life. But then he realized, no, we're not finished yet because you had a dream. You saw me win the championship. So we're not finished boxing until I win it. And he kept going. And a year later, he won the championship and became the oldest boxer in the world to ever hold the world championship. Now, see, that's an example of somebody getting a dream for their husband. And sometimes it's easier when we're not close to it. Sometimes it's easier that somebody else sees it for us, right? But I want to use that example to invite you to see that you could go to bed and you could have a dream and you could hear or receive guidance on what's meant for you. Okay. Let's connect through meditation just now and just see what evolves. And then let's move into just exploring this topic and serving you with your questions in whatever way would be helpful. So join with me as we close our eyes and just placing both feet on the floor. It's usually a little bit more grounding. And begin to take some simple breaths in through the nose, out through the nose or the mouth. In through the nose and out through the nose or the mouth. Feel yourself becoming centered and grounded. Using that breath to slow everything down. Set your intention here that you would have a clarity through this guided meditation. And that clarity would show up either now or tonight or in the coming days. And just see roots coming from your feet down through the ground, down into the underground, right down to that rock at the bottom of the earth. Wrap those roots around that rock. This rock emanates golden light, the light of your true nature. And see that light moving now through the rock, up through the underground, the ground, up through the floorboards and into your feet. Using your intention, send that light all the way up your body now, through every cell and every bone and every ligament and every part, until you're enveloped in this beautiful elixir of golden light. And in this space, we call on our own divine energy, as well as divine mind's energy, that each of us would have a clear vision, a knowing of our calling, a strengthening of our dream, that all fears would be wiped out and confidence would stream in, allowing us to take graceful action in the pursuit of the vision or the desire that we hold in our heart. We ask Spirit now to bless us with great clarity, with direction, motivation, anticipation, great blessings, that we would meet with opportunity everywhere we go, that would allow us to bring forward what's in our heart. And that we would have removed from us any procrastination, any concerns about worthiness, any fears about being seen or being condemned or being judged. And instead that we would have the strength of Spirit guiding us. That we would feel the full abundance of receiving and achieving this gorgeous dream that sits in our hearts, consciously or unconsciously, big or small, now or for the future. That we would stop playing small to ensure others feel okay around us, that we instead would shine brightly. And we receive that now. And just while you're here, just notice if there's anything in your heart lately. Anything you've been wanting, yearning for. Any dream that seems too small or too big, but that continues to show up in your mind's eye or on your desire list, let's say. In this moment, accept that this is your path. No more hesitating, no more wondering, no more hoping, no more worrying. Accept that you are being blessed with this idea, this vision, this direction, because it's meant for you. And that all manner of resources will come to you to allow it to unfold. All sorts of people will get involved to allow it to come to life. And all sorts of opportunities will be available to ensure that you're led on the path of least resistance to this idea, vision, desire, dream coming true. Receive that now. And finally, feel the feeling of having succeeded. Feel the feeling of having received. Now just see roots once more coming from your feet, down through the ground, down into the underground, and right down to this rock at the bottom of the earth. Wrap those roots around that rock. Feel yourself centered, present, connected, successful, confident, and clear. Gently opening your eyes when you're ready and writing down anything that may have come to you. We don't want to make a big deal. That's the message I get. We don't want to make our dream a big deal, something that we have to get it or else, you know, or something that we hold so tightly we can't take any forward movement on for fear of it falling apart. We want to just rest easy in the knowing that if a desire has been placed in our heart, it is trustworthy. It will come to completion. Now, our job is to get out of the way. That's the hard work. I know some of you here, I've heard stories of your own dreams already coming to life in the most miraculous ways, and you're not finished there. But I bet with each of them, on some level, you let go and you let God. And there's something in that. There's something to that letting go. As I woke up this morning, it occurred to me that I've been living in Ostuni, the town I live in. I've been living here for 9 years. And for 9 years, I've been thinking about writing. I've been hearing stories in my mind for 9 years. Different types of stories, different types of things, usually directed from some inspiration around living where I live. But it struck me this morning, wow, that's been nudging you for 9 years. And probably longer, but that's when I became conscious of hearing stories, hearing direction. Now, I thought to write a book, I had to close myself away in the south of France for 3 months and have a mentor that taught me how to write and, stop drinking coffee and alcohol and just be completely a good girl for that amount of time. Well, it turns out life had a different idea. My idea was hard, bloody hard work, but life had a different idea. And life began writing through me, as many of you read, writing through me. And yes, there was a period of incubation. I was in some way locked down for 8 months. I lived with my in-laws after the death of my partner. And I had some sort of if I couldn't stop myself from getting it down on paper, even if I tried. Now, what if that's the way every dream for everybody works? That somehow life takes over and supports you in the best possible way on the path of least resistance of bringing it to life. rather than you and I having to orchestrate and figure out how it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, who we need to get involved in order for it to happen. What if there is this benevolent, loving energy that wants to support you in bringing forward what's in your heart? And that might just be a beautiful home. That might be a smaller waist. That might be a nicer husband. I don't know what's in your heart. But I do know that nothing you're yearning for is being judged by God. Nothing you're yearning for is too big or too small, is too frivolous. And so our job is just to allow ourselves to go in the direction, step by step. You know, to go there, to allow ourselves to take the next step. As many of you have read, you know, I had got to a point where I had a lot of writing. And then I didn't know what to do with it. It's like, what do I do now? And somebody within our Living Miraculously program reached out to me. I don't know if she calls herself an editor or she'd written books and she'd done very well. And she said, I'd really like to help you put that together. Well, see, I couldn't have orchestrated that either. How would I know who to reach out to? How would I know what's supposed to happen next? And so eventually a series of letters became a book, a first draft, excuse me, of a book. And that was a second step. That was life inviting a next step. And then finally, when that was all sort of in place, it became obvious that the next step would be to put it in the hands of people who know what to do with it. And I recalled an invitation by someone to help me. And rather than following up that invitation by an email, I got my ass on an airplane for 10 or 11 hours and I stopped looking at bank accounts and I stopped looking at what wasn't possible and I started looking at and remembering how it all works. You take the next step. You take the next step and the rest shows up. You keep going. Even when an unexpected massive bill came in that might have shook us all and said, well, you can't go now, Grace, because look at this ridiculous bill is coming in. You can't go now. And yet, that's the way the world thinks, but that's not the way we think when we know what we're connected to. And how interestingly and innocently, again, my doubting mind, but you're going to go there and you're going to be all on your own. What are you going to do apart from going to that meeting and seeing a client? What else are you going to do? What if you have an awful time? And only to discover that, well, life had other plans. There was a whole group of people waiting for me, people that I didn't know personally, but people who I had met through a friend of mine. Now, see how life, just one step after the other, begins to allow for what you need, begins to make room for you as you step towards your vision. I still don't know the outcome. It's irrelevant now. The fun has been in the creation, in the journey, and in the going to bed at night where I'm not being nudged by what I've not done yet. Because that was a helpful nudge for a long time. Come on, Grace. Now you can move on this now. This is just my personal example to just demonstrate that it works the other way than what we have learned. It works in trusting what's in your heart, following that guidance, and just taking it step by step, witnessing how the miracles begin to unfold as you do that, the help, the support, the opportunities, versus efforting your way through this all. Now, I caught a grip of myself when I was holding this idea too tightly, because I would notice I was getting scared and I would just let go. So we want to catch a grip, or we want to sort of let the grip go when we notice we've got too much on it. When we notice we're making it about us, what's this going to mean about us if it doesn't unfold? If we don't have X number of clients by such and such a day, if we don't have, you know, the perfect home that we were hoping for by such and such a time in our life. We just want to hold it lightly. Have your dreams and hold them lightly. And call on this gorgeous energy within and around you that is literally at your beck and call. Your staff, your team, for all of the creation, not just some of it. Some of you might just connect around that being divine minds operating inside of you. I'm having way too much fun with like personalities and identities that I'm calling it a team. Because it's just, for me, it's just fun. You don't have to do it on your own, is what I'm saying. And I'd love to make it practical for you as well today on any subject, and particularly this one. You know, if there's something on your mind, if there's something that's in your heart, if there's something that maybe looks impossible to you, I'm happy to connect here and have some coaching going or some exploration going. Keeping in mind that anything you're searching for really gets done through you, not so much by you. And if you can just lean into even that little nugget today, you'll have a different experience of creating in your world. So let's open up. Okay, Shailia, thanks for letting me know. Charlene, thank you.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Wonderful.
perfect.
I'm in a really wonderful, sweet spot where I'm learning not to take things quite so seriously and having way more fun. And there's this new income level that I want to be at. And I'm resisting the urge to do this with my hands because it's like I'm setting this level that I have to reach. And of course, money comes from me. It's not a level that I need to reach. And I think that I've taken even the business coaching around money too seriously. About what I need to do and who I need to be. I guess my question is, how do I soften around money at any level? And how do I make it really juicy and fun?
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people can connect with these very good questions. Yeah. Well, what comes to me initially, Charlene, is we soften around the money when we see that it's not about getting to a certain level. I would invite you to get really curious, like, what's beyond that? That's such a boring goal for a wonderful woman like you. It's like that income. I even love that word, income, coming in, you know, that income can come in as you connect to more of what's it for? What's it about? You know, what's the feeling that you're going to get as a result of that? Because when we play just on getting to a number, it's often like a bit of a hard slog. There's something
Mm,
around that. There's something around that number for you that
mm.
if you could be an inquiry about that, it would help.
I think I'm looking for permission. Like, am I allowed to play in that field? Um, and of course, it's permission that only I can give myself.
Mhm.
I think it really is about permissiveness and just knowing that I can. It's a sense of freedom.
Mhm.
Um, that I don't ever have to worry about the certainty of creating such numbers because I know I can. So what else is new? You know, that's what it is.
Yeah. And isn't it nice to know that we get to play with spiritual energy however we want?
Mm.
And we don't have to prove anything to ourselves.
Hmm.
Sometimes I have pursued goals, let's say, or things that I felt were guidance, only to discover I was trying to prove to myself that I was okay. And I had fun in the process. Like I went on this major trip to Mexico, I think like a year and a half after Francesco died. And in my mind, it was, oh, I'd love to go to Mexico. And well, I've got to go because I've got to be sure that I can still like travel in the world, even though he's not here now. And I went to Mexico and it was lovely and it was an absolute disaster as well. Because I got so ill. I got so unwell. And I got to play with my spiritual team a lot and see a lot and learn a lot. But I came home and I went, oh, you don't have to prove to yourself so much, Grace, that you're okay. You're okay. You're fine. We get to play. I love what you said about soften, Charlene, softening around money. Because I think it's a topic where people do get feel constricted and tight, hard. And even if you're just noticing, oh, let's soften here. The power of that, the power of letting go of that grip has an incredible ripple effect for our finances, for our whole experience of being. And I'm not saying this is the right way to do it, but the way that I personally do it is I don't look at the money in the bank account. I look at what it is that's in my heart that I'm wanting next. And I keep more focused on that than the tangible evidence of what's available. And then I stay alert to leads. You know, in our business, Charlene, we often get leads, you know. Oh, so and so wants to talk to you about something, or so and so mentioned that they might like to have your email. So I stay alert to leads and then I act on them as and when they come in. It's not that I just sit around and don't do anything, but the action is gentle and it's almost certain and it's expected because I know money loves a purpose. So if I have this purpose, I have this desire, I have this dream, I have this goal. Well, my job now is to let the money come in for that. Let the income come in.
Something's just popped out. It's interesting because outside of my business, I'm in two professions simultaneously. And in the second profession, there is this thing about being on point and being on point under pressure. And I realized that I've been applying that principle to my business. And actually, I'm so much softer than I have given myself credit for. And this is how I've been planning. I'm here in Starbucks, and I've just been planning my week through softness and been guided through my intuition. And my marketing is just juicy to me, you know, and just this need to just be on point for these finances, like these finances are somehow separate from me. And I need to behave and be a good girl in order for them to come in. That's just popped out. And
Excellent.
your meditation that you gave us right at the beginning, I became so luminous, like I was the rock at the center of the earth, and I was glowing. And I feel like that type of benevolence and love and softness is how I always want to create money. So that's the purpose.
Yeah. And it's the nicest way to create it, you know, let it flow through you and to you without it being about you.
Yeah.
You know, I love you've heard something, Charlene. I love that. Thank you. It was a wonderful opening question for us. Brandon? Oh, did we lose Brandon?
Yep, can you hear me?
Oh, there you are. Hello, sweetheart. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
good. Sorry I'm not using my camera. I'm currently eating lunch, so I don't want
Okay.
to be on
Okay.
video. So this is the first one of these I've joined, so I really appreciate this. So what I've been kind of similar situation for me actually. I've been growing a business for 2 years, and I absolutely love the work I do. About a year ago, a little less than a year ago, I quit a full-time job I had, but they kept me kind of on a freelance basis because I was the only one that was an expert on the project they had. And that really helped. And that freelance project or contract wrapped up by the end of May, this past May. And so now I kind of feel like I'm a little bit on my own. I feel like I don't have a safety net. It's a little bit scary. My business is making profit, but it's not paying me as much as I'd like. And I know I love what you said a little bit ago. I don't remember the exact wording, but just, letting it be done through you instead of by you. And that's how I feel. I know, I know I could take all sorts of action and look for other jobs, and I have applied to a few things here and there, but I know that's not the way to like force the action. So I've been kind of just trusting and being open to inspiration, and some things have happened. And the weird thing is I don't feel very worried, but it's weird that I feel like I should feel worried. And so I'm just trying to trust the process, but it's also a little bit frightening, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where I am and what I'm dealing with. It's a little bit hard to trust this whole process. And I feel like I see the guidance. I feel like I'm being guided to something, just the way everything worked out and how it all happened. But I don't know what's next. I've been open to inspired action. Nothing's really presented itself yet, so I'm just letting it happen.
Yeah. Well, Brandon, it's a great question, and people can really connect with this. And in the moments that there's nothing happening, this is where we really we want to get we want to wait well. And how do we wait well? We stay connected to that vision of what we prefer to be doing. And that's a lot of work for people when, to stay connected to the vision of what they prefer. Okay.
Yeah.
I've seen over time, life sometimes is giving us space. Okay. We don't necessarily receive it very well, but life is sometimes giving us space between projects, between clients, because things are getting set up. Now, if we can really trust in the moment that things are getting set up in the background, then we get to just go to bed at night and not be so worried. I love that you're in this transition of where you're describing yourself as not worrying, but you think you should be worrying. Like, it's too late. You know too much at this stage. If you're noticing you're not worrying, this is great, because innocently we have confused worry with results, when in fact it has nothing to do with the result. So I heard you say your other business is doing okay, maybe not as much as you would like,
Right.
but you notice that that's still ticking over, and whatever was before this project, you were receiving something, and whatever comes next, you'll be receiving. So I would kind of lean in more towards, I'm going to trust that I'm not worrying because there's nothing to be worried about.
Yeah.
And I'm going to trust that if there's something for me to do, it'll become really obvious. And more obvious because I'm not worrying. Like, I would trust when I'm not worrying. It means things are going to be okay. You know?
Yeah, and I know that's true. I've experienced that so many times in the past. Just trusting and then one day just randomly being inspired to something and that clicking everything into place.
Yeah.
So I know that happens.
Yeah. And, you know, is life inviting you to prioritize the business aspect that you love and prefer rather than projects that you take on?
That's kind of what I feel like. I've been kind of saying, because I went back to school in January to get my accounting degree. And so I'm kind of focused on that and my business. And internally, I think I would love if money would just sort of take care of itself in whatever way, and I could just focus on my business and my school, and not have to stress about taking on other projects or another job or, you know, whatever.
So
I would have
hang
more
out
ownership.
there. Yeah, hang out there. That's what's in your heart.
Yeah,
Forget looking for other projects, because any you look for, you might find they all say no. Because
yeah,
what's in your heart is you want to be of service. Now, what if I told you, well, you know, Brandon, the key to this income coming in is for you just to focus on your service, giving
yeah,
your service, getting your service, being inspired by your service, you know? And sometimes we have to be honest with ourselves. It's like, I don't fucking want to do another project. I just want
that's
this
true.
to work. You
Right,
know?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, well, good. Go give the business a chance at working, you know?
yeah.
Like
I like
life knows what we want. So let's not contradict our demands.
Yeah, yeah, that feels good. I like that a lot.
Yeah. And honestly, the way I see it, the only difference between somebody getting a paycheck from a government or a project or a full-time job or a corporate situation and somebody who's working for themselves is that the person who's getting the paycheck monthly from the ongoing situation that they're dependent upon can be really lazy about how their mind thinks.
Uh-huh, right.
The person who's giving a service and working in the world in a different way and for, let's say, oneself, you know, he and she has he and she has to somewhat get curious about the way he or she thinks.
Yeah, for sure.
See, so when I talk about waiting well, Brandon, you know, wait well in this season of, you know, sticking to your vision about your business working out and your accounting degree being a priority, and seeing how that unfolds perfectly instead of scattering our energy on other projects because we don't really trust that it's going to work out.
Right. Yeah,
See?
I like that. It's one of those things like, do I dare to hope to do that? But I think I've been shown so many signs that that's the path, you know. So
Mhm.
I think I just have to commit to that.
Yeah. Yeah, and commit to it lightly. Hold
Yeah,
it lightly.
yeah,
Um, you know, it's been placed in your heart because you're meant to be doing that. And to the degree that you will just allow yourself to hang out there more and more, that's the degree of people you'll see showing up. You know, as you're inspired by what you've got to give to the world starts showing up in front of you, wanting more of it.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Uh,
love that.
and again, for everybody, if you're not worrying about something, great. Trust that. It means there's nothing to worry about. Okay.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
that.
Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lovely to have you. I think in the comments there might have been a question. Oh, Ivana, are you there?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I don't seem to be able to find where to raise a hand at all. I know Barbara tried to point towards, and I'm still not there.
No problem.
Hello, Grace. Lovely to join you today. Thank you. I had a little question. When we did it meditation, there's this. I seem to have a little struggle to kind of feel into what's kind of, I suppose, you know, heart's desire, versus what, you know, probably sits in my head. And I just, again, probably the same question I asked you before. I don't seem to get it. Sorry. It's kind of, yeah. I've been away for a week. When I've been quite exhausted, and we're back, and today it was just like moving forward with the idea of the business that I have, and it was just felt so overwhelming. Like felt like 101 thing to do and needs to be taken care of, or to be taken care of, or I could be taken care of, you know, trying to downgrade, but just all still very, very heady, and just it's almost like I don't know, I don't know how to function just from like that, oh, like you say, from that heart space, to be kind of inspired action rather than uninspired action, that kind of, you know, come on. So I wonder whether you would be able to talk a little bit to that.
Well, when I feel overwhelmed, it's usually because there's a ton of crap I don't want to do.
Yep.
And so it's been really helpful for me to narrow it down to what would you what would you love to do? Like, forget this list of things you think you have to do. What is it that you would love to do, Grace? And a lot of the time, you know, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but like I might find myself just picking up my phone and writing a little bit of a story. And that it sparks a feeling of alignment, a feeling of being clicked back into place. You know, when we're doing something that is a high, it is more highly up on the enjoyment scale, inspiring scale, we're clicking back into alignment. And from there, it can become obvious and easier to discern, Ivana. Well, what do we do now? What do we do next? You know, because our mind wants to complicate it. Remember, the further you're about to go, the more Bob the drunk guy gets you into all sorts of confusion. It scares the life out of you. So you've got to trust this. There's one thing we know about you. This is going somewhere, because you keep getting tripped up by the same kind of thing. So there must be something really good here that you hold in your hands, that spirit once brought through in the world, right? Because and that's why that other power is sort of like, let's confuse her.
Yeah.
Let's get her overwhelmed. Let's get her really tired. And so you just want to start seeing, oh, okay, guys, okay. Like I just make fun of it now. Like, oh, I must be going somewhere with this, because now I'm scared shitless, you know? But you hold it lightly. You hold it lightly. And so you go back to what's inspiring to do when you put that list all away. You know, like I had a client not that long ago, and what was inspiring for her to do was to go and clear out her entire home. It didn't make sense to me.
No.
But in clearing out her home, she was in this energy. She was in this enjoyment of this feeling of, you know, I don't know, it must have felt something for her, but it clicked her into alignment. So the thing that's inspiring to you needs to come first. And it may not be anything to do with your business. But it gets you on the train start moving.
No, that makes
Does that make sense to
yeah, that
you?
makes huge sense. And actually, it was the first time ever I probably caught myself today, because the those kind of let's overwhelm her powers was like, today was just like, I mean, really, like, what the I swear I'm not going to, like, really. But it's the first time it was kind of like, oh my God, like, must be getting close to the clarity of what it is, sort of thing. And that's how it kind of felt. So it was first time ever, but it was like I just haven't been equipped with to know how to pop myself out of that. But I really like what you said. What would you love to do? And I appreciate it. It might not be anything to do with per se with the business itself necessarily, but it does. The potential of clicking you back into the alignment, I think that makes complete sense. Because what I was kind of I've been trying to do some practices of kind of alignment practices, which it was almost like, it was kind of getting me, all twisted a little bit. It wasn't really helping because I wasn't moving. But as soon as I made steps, the forces came through. I'm like, oh, okay. But it's asking that question, what would you love to do? Makes sense. Thank you so much, Grace.
You're welcome. And if Ivana, and probably for anyone here, if I find that I'm asking the same question over and over and I'm not making a lot of forward movement, I know that I need to get out of the way and get some help, So, just given what I know about you and the conversations we've had over a number of weeks, there may be scope for you to really consider having some coaching sessions where you're able to get beyond this noise, right? And listen, there's no shame in that. I have to do that for myself. I can't, if I stay stuck in Bob's evaluation of the way I live my life and where my future's going, I mean, I just would be in so much trouble. But the beauty of coaching support is that we get to get beyond that noise to the clarity and the vision and the direction. So, that's just also something that comes to me for you. Okay. Anybody else I know we're nearly at the top of the hour, but anybody else got a comment or a question? I hope this has been helpful today. Okay, well, what I will share with you is there'll be no coaching clinic in August because I take August off every year. That's just like there's no clinic and there's no coaching. But there will be a clinic again in September, and obviously I will get you updated with that. And there's a whole load of repeat coaching clinics over on the YouTube channel. So I should have had that already up for you, but what I'll do is let me see if I can just get it really quickly now. So, you can also go there and enjoy those. And what's coming up next is on July 19th is part 2 of our Beyond Money program running together. And you don't have to have been part of part 1. You will get the replay. But if you'd like to join us there, you can get the replay for part 1, and then you can do part 2 of Beyond Money with us. So that will be a fabulous exploration, especially if you're in any sort of concern or worries about money, or if you just really want to see something fresh on that subject. To be honest, we don't always stick to the one subject. So there's the YouTube channel. we don't always stick to the one subject, but we have that topic of beyond money at the moment, and that's powerful for people. So yeah, if you'd like in on that, please let me know. And I hope to see you all in September, if not before. Take care and lots of love. Thank you for your presence today. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.